And there was a man named Pharaoh, like you referenced, who thought about destroying all the Jews. He's gone, and we eat these square little things called matzahs. A little while later, there were these Greeks that tried to destroy us. They outlawed the practice of Judaism. They fought us. We were small, they were many. We won. And now we eat these round little things called sufganiyot and latkes. A little while later, there was this really evil person, Haman, wanted to destroy every single Jew. Literally a genocide. We prayed, we fought, we won. And we eat these square little cookies called hamantash. Triangle, I don't know my shapes. I don't know business school, became a rabbi. I just keep thinking to myself, I hear what you're saying. We know you're going to lose. I just want to know what kind of cookie we're going to eat to celebrate the fact that we won. So what would you say to us who I think have gained from your optimism, your heroism, your strength, even to be able to discuss and talk about this? What would you say to just send us off? We know we have work to do. We know that we have to hang our head high. But as a closing thought, as we walk out, if you wanted to take us one thing with us as we write our diaries for the evening, after a phenomenal evening that will stay in our minds for a long time, what would those closing words be?
Not easy to find. I used to ask the why. Why does it happen to us? I asked 80 years ago. I had no answer, and I still don't. But what I can say is, we can reach people, be the bright people of our own growing up, who can reach as far away in the world as any other nation. And there is an optimism in me that they will manage. They will come up with an idea. They will find the person who will be blessed with gifts of mind and soul and heart to reach people, and that there will be more and more good people in the world. I will leave you with that. That's my hope.
This will be my briefest comment. There are two things that I believe in emphatically, and that is learn to love. And the other thing I've learned throughout my career, if you come across something that is wrong, do something about it.
I hope at the end will be fine, and because Israel is strong, we will have peace, and the world will know that we are the best nation in the world.
Thank you for your time, for your wisdom, for your strength, for being really pillars of light. These are small little lights in comparison to the lights that you are in our community. To close the evening, I'd like to call up Rabbi Diamond, who's the new CEO of Asia Torah, who's responsible for running the Living Legacy Strip, to close off this evening.
Thank you, everybody. On all of our behalves, I want to thank our three heroes here tonight who came, opened up their hearts. Sometimes it was not easy to do so, but came in order to speak to us and speak to our hearts. So I want to thank you, Hedy, thank you, Saul, thank you, Stefania, for coming and joining us. As I stand in front of this very imposing recreation of the Ten Commandments, as you all know, we are called the people of the book. We brought the book to the world. We brought the book that taught a moral code to the world. And these Ten Commandments, of course, form the core of that moral code. We are the book. are people of the book. We are loyal to scholarship and erudition and learning and study. And it makes sense why we are called the people of the book. And our greatest teacher of all time, Moshe Rabbeinu, in the last days of his life, turned to his people, our ancestors, and he said these words to them. Zechor yemot olam. Remember the days of old. Remember what happened. Ubinu shnot dor vador. And think about these things. Reflect upon them. Examine them. Ask the questions that have to be asked. And then he said something amazing. For the scribe, the teacher of all times, to tell us, in order to remember, what would you expect him to say? Read the book. His life was dedicated to creating the book. And instead of saying, read the book, he said these words. She'al avicha v'yagetcha. Don't read the book, but go to your father, go to your mother, and ask them. Zikinecha v'yomru lach. And ask your elders to tell you the story. Don't read the book. Sometimes you don't go to the book. Sometimes you have to hear the story from the people themselves. Reading is important, but reading doesn't create connection. There is a sacred moment that happens between the person who tells the story and the listener. A connection is created. And we heard tonight about the importance of unity, of connection between the Jewish people. And when we ask the questions, and these questions, as you can see tonight, were hard to answer. They were hard. And when you sit in the presence of somebody, and you know that the question you're asking is hard, and you're watching and you're listening, you're watching every movement and every nuance, and every cry, and every gasp, you don't forget that. You don't forget that. We are a people that understands the significance of the storyteller and of the listener. That, in fact, of course, as you know, is the Pesach experience, the Seder table. What's the Seder table? Tell the story. Don't just read the book. Tell the story. And we have a story, don't we? And our story is filled with sadness. It's filled with tragedy. It's filled with challenge. It's filled with death. It is. But I don't want anybody leaving here tonight thinking that that's the whole story. It is part of it. It is part of it. But our story is the story of heroes too. It's a story of inspiration. It's a story of people who've been in the darkest places possibly to imagine and can come with hope and strength and messages and lessons and leave us feeling encouraged and leave us feeling inspired and leave us feeling we have a job to do. And that's what the three of you have done tonight. Each in your own way, have made it clear to us as listeners to your stories that we too must become storytellers. To tell your stories to others, to our children, to others who are not our children but need to hear the stories. Because there is a sacred power to telling the story. And tonight, on International Holocaust Remembrance Day, might have been established by the UN, but you and I know they did not establish the importance of the story. It wasn't the United Nations that did that. It was us. Our legacy, our heritage, our tradition, our ancestors, our story. And so tonight, as we leave this room, this sacred room, listening to these holy stories from these holy people, we ought to leave strengthened. We ought to leave inspired. We ought to leave feeling that if you think, I don't know if I can, remember tonight, remember Stefania, remember Saul, remember Hedy, and think, I too can be a source of strength. And when the Jewish people all over the world believe in our hearts, each and every one of us, that we are a source of strength, that even if there are difficult times, we will rise, we will conquer, we will grow, and we will be that source of light that we were always intended to be. Thank you, everyone, for